Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Go Bhakta Vrinda Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare. Jaya Radha Radhanath, Radha Radhanath, Radhe Jaya. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari. Nitai Go Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Go. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya. Jayam Vishnupad Paramsa Parivrajaka Dr. Srimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON Founder Church Srila Prabhupada Ki, BBT Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Srila Vedavyasadev Ki, Bhaktivedanta Purports Ki, Gau Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Guru and Gauranga, cross the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So we'd like to welcome you to this morning's Bhagavatam class, especially those visitors from Gauteng. Haripal, welcome. So this morning's class is 4th Canto, Chapter 8, Text 42. Dhruva Maharaj leaves home. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chevam Narotumam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nasta Praisya Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatu Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Tata Gacha Badram Te Tata Gacha Badram Te Yamunayas Tatam Suchi Yamunayas Tatam Suchi Punyamadhuvanam Yatra Punyamadhuvanam Yatra Sanidhyam Nityadahare Sanidhyam Nityadahare Tattata Gachabhadram Te Yamunayas Tatam Suchi Punyamadhuvanam Yatra Sanidhyam Nityadahare Tattata Gachabhadram Te Yamunayas Tatam Suchi Punyamadhuvanam Yatra Sanidhyam Nityadahare Tattata Gachabhadram Te Yamunayas Tatam Suchi Punyamadhuvanam Yatra Sanidhyam Nityadahare Tattata Gachabhadram Te Yamunayas Tatam Suchi Punyamadhuvanam Yatra Sanidhyam Nityadahare Ramte Ramte Yamunayas Tatam Suchi Punyamadhuvanam Yatra Sanidhyam Tattata Gachabhadram Te Yamunayas Tatam Suchi Punyamadhuvanam Yatra Sanidhyam Nityadahare Tattata Gachabhadram Te Yamunayas Tatam Suchi Punyamadhuvanam Yatra Sanidhyam Nityadahare Tattata Gachabhadram Te Yamunayastatam suchi Punyam madhuvanam yatra Sanidiham nityada hare Tattata gaccha badram te Yamunayastatam suchi Punyam madhuvanam yatra Sanidiyam nityada hare. That, Tata, my dear son, Gacha, go, Badram, good fortune, Te, for you, Yamunaya, of the Yamuna, Tatam, bank, Suchi, being purified, Punyam, the holy, Madhuvanam, of the name Madhuvan, Yatra, where, Sanidiham, being nearer, Nityada, always, Are, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear boy, I therefore wish all good fortune for you. You should go to the bank of the Jamuna, where there is a virtuous forest named Madhuvan, and there be purified. Just by going there, one draws nearer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who always lives there. Everyone repeat response. My dear boy, I therefore wish all good fortune for you. You should go to the bank of the Yamuna, where there is a virtuous forest named Madhuvan, and there be purified. Just by going there, one draws nearer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who always lives there. Purport. Both Narad Muni and Suniti, the mother of Dhruva Maharaj, advised Dhruva Maharaj to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, Narad Muni is especially giving him directions how this worship of the Supreme Person can very quickly fructify. He recommends that Dhruva Maharaj go to the bank of the Jamuna, where there is a forest of the name Madhuvan, and begin his meditation and worship there. Places of pilgrimage yield a special advantage for a devotee in quickly advancing his spiritual life. Lord Krishna lives everywhere, but still, it is very easy to approach him in holy places of pilgrimage, because these places are inhabited by great sages. Lord Krishna says that he lives wherever his devotees are chanting the glories of his transcendental activities. There are many places of pilgrimage in India, and especially prominent are Badri Narayan, Dwarka, Rameshwara, and Jagannath Puri. These sacred places are called the four dhams. Sometimes Char Dham, isn't it? Char Dham Yatra. Dham refers to a place where one can immediately contact the Supreme Lord. To go to Badri Narayan, one has to pass through the hardware on the path to the Supreme Person of God. Similarly, there are other holy places of pilgrimage, such as Prayag, Allahabad, and Mathura, and the topmost of all is Vrindavan. Unless one is very advanced in spiritual life, it is recommended that he live in such holy places and execute devotional service there. But an advanced devotee like Narad Muni, who is engaged in preaching work, can serve the Supreme Lord anywhere. Sometimes even goes to the hellish planets. Hellish conditions do not affect Narad Muni because he is engaged in greatly responsible activities in devotional service. According to the statement of Narad Muni, Madhuvan, which is still existing in the Vrindavan area in the district of Mathura, is a most sacred place. Many saintly persons still live there and engage in the devotional service of the Lord. There are 12 forests in the area of Vrindavan, and Madhuvan is one of them. Pilgrims from all parts of India assemble together and visit all 12 of these forests. There are 5 forests on the eastern bank of the Jamuna: Bhadravan, Bilavan, Lahuvan, Bandiravan, and Mahavan. On the western side of the bank there are 7: Madhuvan, Thalavan, Kumudavan, Bahulavan, Kamyavan, Kadiravan, and Vrindavan. In those 12 forests, there are different ghats or bathing places. They are listed as follows: Avimukta, Adiruda, Guya Tirtha, Prayag Tirtha, Kanakala, Tinduka Tirtha, Surya Tirtha, Vatsavami, Dhruvagat. Dhruvagat Veda, many nice trees of fruits and flowers, is famous because Dhruva Maharaj meditated and underwent severe penances and austerities there in an elevated spot. Rishi Tirtha, Moksha Tirtha, Buddha Tirtha, Gokarna, Krishna Ganga, Vaikunta, Asikunda, Chatur Samudrika Kupa, Akrura Tirtha. When Krishna and Balaram were going to Mathura in the chariot driven by Krura, all of them took baths in this ghat, Akrura Tirtha. Yagnika Viprat Stan, Kubja Kupa, Ranga Stala, Mancha Stala, and Malya Yuda Stana, and Dashashvameda. It's 24 bathing ghats that are recommended here by Prabhupada. Om Jnana Timrindasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumalitam Jaina Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunath Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta, Namostute, Tapta Kanchana Gourangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye, Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bhyahevacha, Patitanam Pavinebhyo, Vaishnavabhyo, Namo Namaha, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the conversation is between Narad Muni and Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva has left home to go to the forest because he had this big desire. And he wanted to go to that place where he can fulfill that desire. So he meets Narad Muni by some good fortune, who becomes his spiritual master. And Narad Muni is advising him on of course, he's a little boy. He's only like 6, 7 years old. First, Narada told him, "You better go home. It's too much for you." But he saw the determination of this boy, that he was so determined. He's Kshatriya. He has this determination, this fortitude of fulfilling his desire. So Narad, in a very endearing way, we see, "My dear boy." This is very nice, like the exchange between spiritual master and disciple. The spiritual master is always very loving and caring. Like we see in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna addresses Arjuna, "Tata, my friend," "Sakhi, my friend," isn't like that? Very endearing way of spiritual master-disciple relationship is there. Of course, sometimes it's not so pleasant. The spiritual master exchange sometimes can be very heavy, because guru means heavy with knowledge, heavy with chastisement, but the chastisement, the disciple sees that as mercy. Especially when we get chastised by our spiritual master, it is special mercy that he's caring for us. He wants to see us grow straight, not crooked, go the correct path and practice our spiritual life. So Narad Muni is doing this very similar thing here. And he advised him where to go to one of the 12 forests in Vrindavan, Madhuvan. The Prabhupada goes very detailed description of these different, the 12 forests of Vrindavan. And during Kartik, they have the special Rajmandal Parikrama. It was originally arranged by His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj. It's going on for many, many years, more than 30, 40 years now. This Rajmandal Parikrama is going on during the month of Kartik. One can visit all 12 places, all 12 forests in that time, in that month. Of course, it's not so easy, it's very austere, but that austerity will purify us all, performing that. Of course, the conditions may be harsh. You're not living in very nice surroundings or places of favorable places. Still, because you're there, because every forest, the Lord is present, like Prabhupada is saying here. And the Holy Dham is surcharged with the presence of the Lord. Everywhere, his footprints are there. His pastimes are there. His leelas are all over. Therefore, we relish when we go on these parikramas with authorized persons. We relish. We just love hearing all these wonderful Krishna Katha, Krishna's wonderful pastimes with the gopis, with his cowherd friends, swimming in the Jamuna, fighting demons. So, yeah, he said, but how to approach this? Yesterday, I don't know if she's here. Where's she? Gaurabhumi was mentioning the main key factor is that faith. Faith in the spiritual master's word, like Dhruva had full faith in Narad Muni's. He was prepared to go and follow that instruction. He was prepared. He had that faith. And the Shastras give very nice evidence of faith. The one is in the Svetasvatara Upanishad. Yasya deva para bhakti yatha deva tata guru tasya te yatha katha prakashante mahatmanaha. He says, only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in the spiritual master and Krishna are the imports of the Vedic knowledge revealed. Yeah. And there's another verse also. What's that? Look at that. Prabhupada often quotes this verse in the Mundaka Upanishad. Tad vidyatham sagurum iva bigachet samit panis stotriham brahma nishtam. To learn the transcendental subject matter, one must approach a spiritual master. The symptom of such a spiritual master is that he is expert in understanding the Vedic conclusions, and therefore he constantly engages in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are many verses like that, but these are that in terms of implicit faith, having faith, and the role of the spiritual master in our practice of spiritual life. It's very, very, it's like, it's a must. One cannot approach Krishna directly. No, one has to go through the medium of the spiritual master, the bona fide spiritual master. And Dhruva is showing us that through this pastime, that we have to accept. To see Krishna, to get the audience of Krishna, or the darshan of Krishna, we have to go through the um, the spiritual master, the transparent or the conduit. The spiritual master is simply the conduit for us to approach Krishna. He paves the way because he knows the way. He's Tattvadarshi, described in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna describes such persons as he's a Tattvadarshi. He has seen the truth. Therefore, he can give us the truth. He can expose the truth to us. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is a friend and devotee of the Supreme Lord. But in the beginning, he was so consumed by this attachment and affection for his family, namely spiritual master and his very revered grandfather Bhishma, that he refused to fight. He refused to fight. Based on these, which Krishna exposes as bodily concept. It is on the bodily concept of life. So the Supreme Lord, he orchestrated this great war so that Dharma will prevail. And he wanted Arjuna to be the main protagonist. So he had to, in a very heavy way, he was Hare Krishna, Sri Sri Radharanath ki jai, Sri Sri Giriraj Kavadan ki, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu Gaur Hari ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. Eventually Arjuna relents and he comes, and that famous verse, Karpanya doso pahata swabhava prichami tvam dharma samudacheta yacha nishchitam bruhitan me sisyastaham sadimam prapanam. So Arjuna, he has this realization that all those things he had, those inhibitions about not fighting, they were miserly, karpanya, kripana, miserly. He considered them miserly. So when we have all this material baggage there, we consider them miserly. Because they have all selfish. They're selfish. We have desires only for I, me, and mine, and my close-knit, my family, my immediate family, like that. My country, my house, my car. So these are all karpanya. They are selfish. They are selfish. So he comes to the point of accepting Sisyastam Sadimam. I want to be your disciple. And the soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So this is, Prabhupada says, this, when we come to that conclusion of, then only we should accept spiritual master. And Prabhupada gives a very nice purport about that. It says, I'll quote something Prabhupada said. By nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step there is perplexity. And therefore, it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master. Who can give proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life, which happens without our desire. How material life started. Impossible to try to discern, isn't it? They are like a forest fire. Nobody knows how a forest fire starts. And a forest So material life is like that. It's like a forest fire. And they are like that blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. Hmm? Hmm? Hmm. Therefore, in the Guru Vastakam prayers, our first prayer is Samsaradava nalalita loka pranaya karuna gana ganatvam prapatsya kalyana gunanavasya vande guru sri charana ravindam. You'll know the translation? We sing this every morning. Huh? Yes? Ocean of mercy. Just as a cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it. So the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such a spiritual master, who is an ocean of auspicious activities, qualities, yes. Mm. So this is a wonderful, we glorify the spiritual master, because in so many ways he's taking us out of this tabernacle of our material desires. Like Dhruva had such aspirations, isn't he? He wanted a kingdom bigger than his grandfather, bigger than Brahma. Not even Brahma can fulfill that. So he approaches he did a very intelligent thing. He didn't go to any demigods, approach the big demigods, but he was set on approaching the Supreme via the medium of Narad Muni. Akama sarva kama va muksha kama udaridi. Whether one has desires, whether wants liberation, no, doesn't want liberation. By all means, he must worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, this is the verse from the second canto. Akama sarva kama va. Prabhupada quotes that in the Bhagavad Gita also. So yeah, this is the mood of approaching a spiritual master with that there's awe and veneration, and also there's humility. Like Dhruva was prepared, he was very, although he came with such aspirations, he was very prepared to follow the instructions very nicely. And then, and Narad Muni is very happy to discuss that, the solution for him. So the spiritual master is considered our real father. He's although we may have biological fathers, all of us, we have a biological father, but our real father is the spiritual master. Yes. In is in a very endearing way. The spiritual master relates to the disciple, like we see here, my dear boy, very patient with the disciple, with loving attention. So this is the mood. The reciprocation is there between the spiritual master and the disciple. The spiritual master is our well-wisher, is our friend. And therefore we take shelter. Shashraya, taking shelter of the spiritual master, and serving him in so many ways. We can serve the spiritual master in his presence or by his instructions, the Vani and Vapu. Like Srila Prabhupada is not present physically, but we, through his legacy of his books, his instructions are there. The Vani is there. And Vipralamba, we are serving in separation. And Vipralamba is considered higher, isn't, of these two, meeting in Sambhog and Vipralamba. Vipralamba is considered the higher principle, serving in separation. That is considered the higher. Because we're always meditating, we're praying for the mercy of the spiritual master to bless us in so many ways that we can execute our devotional activities very nicely so that he is pleased. And we know when the spiritual master is pleased, then Krishna is pleased. We know that, isn't it? When we're pleasing the spiritual master, then the Supreme Lord is also pleased and he will benedict us. Here is another Prabhupada mentions about Narad Muni going to, Narad Muni travels everywhere, isn't? So if he's going everywhere, that means he's also going to the hellish planets. Everywhere means the three worlds, Bur, Bhuvalok, Swarlok, the subterranean planets, the hellish planets, the topmost planets, and he's going to this Vaikuntha, is traveling all over. But does he get affected when he goes to hell, to the hellish planets? Does he? No. He's a Papa Vidam. A Papa Vidam. In the Upanishad also it is described. The Lord is a Papa Vidam. He said, and they give the analogy of the sun. The sun shines everywhere, even in dirty places. Isn't where there's urine and stool and all kinds of unmentionable things. But does the sun get affected? No. On the contrary, it purifies all those places. So the great devotees of the Lord, the pure devotees of the Lord, wherever they go, they're not affected. They're not affected by these things. I was thinking of the story. The thief, he was a very compulsive thief. He could not help himself. Whatever he saw, he would steal. So one day he happened to be in a train. And in this train was full of sadhus. So he said, oh boy, how can I rob these sadhus? They are sadhus. And I'm in the company of these sadhus. So, but it was like playing on his mind. But I have to steal, like a kleptomaniac. He goes to a shop, this compulsive nature to take things, isn't it? It's kind of... So he was in his train, he was contemplating what should I do. So when the sadhus fell off to sleep, he said, now is my chance to rob them. And then he was playing on his mind, these sadhus, they are saintly, and just by that association, he was getting purified from that desire to steal and rob them. So he said, because I cannot help myself, I will take the shoes and I will disarray it. He mixed up. He took this shoe and left it there and that shoe, like that, and this way he consoled himself. So in the morning when the sadhus got up, they were looking for the shoes, but their shoes was lying on where the other sadhu was, and they isn't. So like that, we see when we come with some desire like that, just by the association of saintly association, we get purified from that. There's another story also. I don't know, we can verify that story. Whether Prabhupada was in Calcutta or Bombay, I don't know. Then one, I think he was like a pickpocket, but he happened to come to the temple. Like a pickpocket, he's very expert in picking pockets. Stealing it without you knowing it, they can take your money away. Very expert. I seen that when I was growing up in the market, pickpockets in Victoria Street Market and Top Market. Seen, Kula, you remember? But when they got caught, they were like, "Whoa!" I felt sorry for them. Everyone he went past, they would just handcuff him, and every way he passed, they would beat him up with the brooms and scale weights, and he was just a mess. That was the punishment, I guess. But so this pickpocket, he saw Prabhupada had a very expensive watch. It was a Rolex or a Tissot gold watch. And he was looking at that watch, and Prabhupada is speaking like this, and his eyes is only on that watch. He says, "How can I take that watch?" But just by being in association of the devotees, he forgot that, he gave up that idea. And he joined the temple after that. I think years later he tells the story, right? Yes? Haridas, yes, famous devotee. Haridas. So we can see the prophylactic means by this association, like the association of the sunshine, the dirty places get purified. By the association of pure devotees, we just come into contact with devotees. The conditioned life, we get purified from that. The gradual purification is there as we take to the process very nicely. Yeah. So there was very nice prayer by Yudhishthira Maharaj when Vidura was the Vidura in his previous life. Anybody know who he was? Who? Yes, Yamaraj. Due to some curse, he took birth as a Sudra. But he was brought up in the household of the princes of Dhritarashtra and Pandu. He was like a half-brother, I can say. And he would continuously be insulted by Duryodhana. You, the son of a kept woman, you're a spy, like that. And Vidura could not bear it anymore, all these insults and blasphemy. And he left the house of the Kauravas, and he went on pilgrimage for a long time to all the holy places. And he's coming back 30 years later, after the battle of Kurukshetra. He's coming back to the house of the Pandavas, who are rightly crowned as the rulers. Krishna's desire was for them. So he's coming back to that house, and this wonderful prayer by Yudhishthira. Where is it? I'll read it here. So this wonderful prayer, he's saying, when Vidura approached Yudhishthira is the king, and he's showing this wonderful reception. Bhavad Vida Bhagavatas Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho Tirti Kurvanti Tirthani Shvantastena Gadabrita. So he's addressing Vidura. He said, devotees like you are holy places personified. You purify the holy places because you carry the Supreme Lord within your heart. So in this way he was glorifying Vidura like that. So the pure devotees, they have this, they're charged with this energy, the spiritual energy of purity, this prophylactic nature that they can purify the places. And we see that also with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was the two brothers, Jagai and Madai. They were such sin personified. They were sinful persons personified. They were the aggregate of total sinful activity. They represented that. And he was about to kill them because they offended Nityananda, attacked him. And he was about to take their heads off with the chakra. But Nityananda prayed to him, please, my Lord, don't. Because in Kali Yuga, if you kill Jagai and Madai, you have to kill everybody. Because everybody is Jagai and Madai. Everybody in this Kali Yuga is Jagai and Madai. So in that way, the Lord, and he embraced them. They said when he embraced them, his color from molten gold turned to a dark. Because he was taking all the sinful activities, was absorbing it. In that way, they became purified. So the Lord is described as a Papa Viddham. Yeah, he can purify anything. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Any questions or comments? Others? Questions? Raghunath?
I was just thinking about Haridas. Haridas actually joined, he saw a Back to Godhead magazine in a trash can in the prison. And that's where he saw Prabhupada had that watch.
Okay.
So he had that desire whilst he was in prison. So when he came out, he went straight to Bombay to
Thank you.
to get that watch. But then Prabhupada engaged him. And his name was actually kept by Giriraj Maharaj.
Wow.
And although he's Prabhupada's disciple, but his name was actually given by Giriraj Maharaj.
So
prior to
this
initiation.
happened in Bombay? Or?
Bombay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I thought that was a very nice example that you quoted of somebody, who like by association, changed so much. And he was very impressed with Prabhupada because Prabhupada would make him go and deal with the local people to buy things. And every cent he would count. And then Prabhupada asked him what you came for. He said, actually, I came to steal your watch. And then Prabhupada had taken the watch to give him. And then he didn't want it, just like you were quoting Dhruva Maharaj.
Yes.
So he didn't want the watch, he didn't want the watch. But that watch was given to another devotee. Vishal, I think, yeah, him. He still has that watch that Prabhupada gave. So I think that was a very wonderful example. The other point I wanted to make about was, I think you were talking about association. You get purified. It's actually initially, yes, I was thinking about it. But as you advance in Krishna consciousness, you'll have to seek a higher association. It's not that, then now, then the juniors will purify you. Because one of the things of making advancement in Krishna consciousness is knowing where you're situated. If you don't know where you're situated, then you won't make if you associate with peers, you're not going to make advancement. So I think it's important. But in association, you have to associate with people who have affection for you and affection for Krishna. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Also, so those are some of the points. But I was also noting down that you were talking about chastisement, and now how should one take chastisement? Sometimes some chastisement is so severe, and it's like really, how do you accept the chastisement from the spiritual master? Like in your association, you associate with Giriraj Maharaj, you served him, I saw him serving him so many times. And he may have chastised you. How did you respond to that chastisement? Or was it so severe that you couldn't, at some point you couldn't follow certain things?
Yes, one time thank you. I had a confrontation with one of my god sisters. We were cooking, at the time we used to cook in the restaurant kitchen for the temple devotees. And class was going on, and she was not in class, she was, kind of disrupting us while we were cooking, those two of us. So when a little heavy with her, I think I was heavy-handed, and she went to and complained to Giriraj Swami that I was very heavy with her. So I think the next day he gave a class, and it like pointed to this, and I felt, there's something coming for me. I was like bracing myself for that. And later he called me. He called me to his room. And so he said certain thing happened like that. I could have defended myself and said, no, I think I was right. But no, I just took the humble position. And he said, yeah, you are not dealing with factory workers. He banged the table. You are not dealing with factory workers. And that was enough for me to say. And I offered my base, and I went and offered my base to my god sister. She's living very peacefully in Vrindavan now. I
know.
Yeah. And I went and stayed with her in a guest house there. We have a good relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, so at one time, that time I was the temple commander, I think, and was to see that the lights are off, the rooms closed. Right. And it was late at night. It was after the time, and I'm sitting there, and Maharaj is chanting. When he's chanting, he doesn't like to be disturbed. It was late. And I think he was aware that I'm watching him. And he came to me, he says, why aren't you chanting? I said, I'm waiting to close. And he gave me this look, and I just ran away from there. Later, when he was gone, I came and closed up. And then another time, see this light by Prabhupada? After class, all the lights, these lights are on now. Then that was my duty to put everything off. So he saw me put that light off. And he said, don't compromise the standard of the deities just to save some money. Don't compromise the standard that's a deity. Don't compromise the standard. From that day on, this light, I make sure it's always on. So there's so many, there's many more we can speak about, but I'm sure you all have some revelations of getting special mercy of the Guru like that. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and what it was like, you were in Bombay, you were invited, and you got the association of Radhanath Swami. You were taking. What was it like?
There in Chaupati, we had this very wealthy. I think he's late now.
He's late.
Yeah, Nataji.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. They invited us, so few of us went. I think Nama was there, Swarup was driving Maharaj, and we followed in another car. So when Swarup, they were there already, so we came back, and then I was sitting Swarup was sitting in the car downstairs. This is 7-story building. So I went up and I was speaking to him. Meanwhile, they all waiting at the table. And somehow they sent for me. That they're waiting for you. And I was like rushing up this lift to get up there, and I offered my obeisances and apologized. To be in such elevated as Radhanath Swami, this Giriraj Swami, and to sit in that, I felt a little like very tiny. But this is the association, you know. It's like that. And of course, there was other senior God brothers and God sisters were there. And then later, after we had, and then we standing on the foyer part. And the Radhanath Swami went to wash to the bathroom, and he came back and he just hugged me. Yeah, I was like so taken by that. I didn't expect this. He just kind of hugged me. And I'm looking for Swarup. Where's Swarup to take like a Kodak moment this was. Swarup was. I said, where were you? I wanted this, you know, for posterity. So that was my day. Amazing. So the spiritual master, he chastises and he also shows affection, taking us with him to programs and sitting with him and taking prasad. So this is special mercy. But we should not go to our head, isn't it? Oh, I sat with my guru, I got embraced by Radhanath Swami. No, it should just make us more humble. Yes. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Oh.
Haribol. Yes, I wanted to say that I think that they say that the two persons who got chastised the most by Prabhupada was Bhakti Churu Maharaj and Tamal Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
So there's one devotee, you know, it was 20 years anniversary for his disappearance, and he was saying how when he was in the Damodar Sri Radha bus party, he was like helping out, organizing. So then at one point he said, oh, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he says, I can't work with you. You yell at me too much. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he brought all the devotees lined up, one by one. Do I yell at you? Do I yell at you? And then as if to say, they're going to say, yes, you yell at. Even those who said yes, they said it's good for us. Then when they left, then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said to this Prabhu, I was at Prabhupada for 4 years in India. Every minute of the day he yelled at me. Do you see me complaining? And he said that like sunk into his head, you know. He need to take it as it is.
Yeah, Prabhupada said about Tamal, he said he will walk through fire. Although he made some great mistakes, Prabhupada said he will walk through fire. And he said of Bhavananda, or Brahmananda, he said, even if you see him smoking a cigarette, you should offer your obeisances to him. Yeah, they did so much wonderful service for Prabhupada. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else has any nice pastime of Prabhupada ki, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you very much.